Today we have epic landscapes, bald eagles, and a desert photo shoot. So let's jump into it. Yes, I did say bald eagle. So recently I got back from a trip to Zion National Park. While we were there, we stopped off at Horseshoe Bend in Arizona, which was insane. Then we ended the trip in Las Vegas, exploring the dried lake beds and the desert vibes, and got a bunch of good shots. Got a bunch of dope landscape shots, got some good, we did a little desert photo shoot, and figured we'd run through a couple of shots here. I got 6 heaters, 6 bangers, 6 of my favorite shots from the trip. So gonna dive into the shots, do a little editing, do a little vibing, and just Lightroom and chill. So for this first shot here in Zion, we ended up hiking up the trail to, damn, I forget the name, but it's the waterfall trail. And when you get to the top, you turn around, and I mean, this is the view you get. Behind you is the waterfalls, but this view here was just insane. You got the snow-topped mountains. I like how the bushes in front kind of lead your eyes in. So figured we'll slap a little edit on this guy. I kind of want to warm it up a little bit and really want to draw the focus down the middle into that mountain. So we'll start off here with this preset, Rise and Shine. I like the vibe that it gives the photo, just kind of enhances the highlights a little bit throughout. Then I want to throw a little mask on there, bring down that sky a little bit because it's a little bright. Just bring it down a tad, so it's not just blown out completely. Real subtle like that. Then I'm gonna go ahead and pull in a radial gradient. Slap that real big through the middle. Then we're gonna invert it. Then just bring everything down a little bit, kind of drawing that attention right into the middle of the photo, which is sick. All right, then I'm gonna go ahead and do my little fake sun here. Nice long skinny kind of radial gradient, something like that. I'm just gonna pull it off to the side. Kind of looks like that sun's coming in from the left side. So just something like that right there. Then we're gonna come down and warm that up. Oh, I love that. Love that. Maybe pull the highlights just a little bit, pull the shadows just a little bit, pull the whites. Okay. And we're gonna come down to the texture, bring the texture up just a smidge, clarity just a little bit, really pull the clarity and texture out of those mountains. Dehaze, bring that up just a little. All right, now for the S curve, I wanna take that and drop that below, making the blacks black, not necessarily fading out. When you go up on the S curve, it fades them out. When you go down low, it really blackens out those blacks. We'll leave the whites drop down a little bit, leave that snow, kind of put a little haze on that snow. And I think we're good on that one. Before, looks real bland. After, I mean, just look at the view. That's one thing about this trip. I took so many shots that I felt were epic at the time because of where I was in person, but the shots just don't do the location justice. I mean, I really don't know how to explain it. If you've never been to Zion, I highly recommend you go. But if you've been to Zion, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. So I think we're good with that one. Before, after, sick as shit. Look at that view. This is going on the wall somewhere for sure. So let's go ahead and go on to the next one. All right, this one here. This is called the Mountain or the Canyon Overlook Trail. You got to drive all the way up the mountain, go through this crazy tunnel that goes through the mountain, and then on the other side, you got to find parking. I mean, it is tight. It's a 2-lane road. They have a little bitty parking area that's always full. Luckily, we were able to slam into one of the parking spaces, but well worth it all. Then you got to hike about, I'd say 20-30 minutes up. Not a bad hike, but when you get to the top, insane. This picture definitely doesn't do it justice. I mean, the cliff where you're standing, where I was standing to take this photo, I mean, it is, you're high up there. Picture doesn't really do it justice. But the views from location, insane, just insane. But I love this shot, how you have the red and the rock, and it's kind of layered with colors. You have the haziness in the sky. You have the road kind of rolling through the middle. Just a sick shot. So, gonna come over here. I don't know, see if I got a preset I like for this one. I don't think the Rise and Shine was it. Let's see, cheese maybe. No, 23. Okay, kind of like that. Let's you know what, we're gonna make them all kind of the same. So let's go with Rise and Shine on this, but we're gonna change this one up a good bit. So I'm gonna straighten it up. First off, gonna bring in a radial gradient and just do like we did on that last one, make it nice and big, invert it, and then just bring everything down around it, kind of drawing your attention right down the middle. Something like that. All right, then we're gonna pull in another radial gradient. And we're gonna do that same fake sun, cheese, nice long mass kind of popped off like that from the side. And we're gonna go ahead and warm it up a little bit. I like bringing that sun in, that warmness of that sun. Something like that, sick. Then I'm gonna pull in a linear gradient off these rocks here. I just wanna bring those rocks up. Put some highlight on them, make them pop a little bit. All right, we need to bring up the texture, bring up that clarity, bring down the dehaze on this one. I like how it's already kind of real hazy from the sky, that overcast. So bringing down that dehaze just kind of accentuates it. Then I want to bring in a linear from the bottom up and just bring it down just a smidge. Not anything crazy, something light like that. And then maybe just another radial gradient over these mountains here and just kind of bring those up just a little bit so they're not so shadowed out. Kind of like that. Let's see, before, after. You know what, I'm actually gonna take that linear gradient from the bottom, roll that up a little, and instead of bringing it down, I'm gonna bring it up. Maybe bring out that road, bring out the landscape down below, something like that. All right, now gonna drop that black down, and then we're gonna go down to the color grade here. I wanna take those mids, let's bring them over to the teal side, bring those shadows down to the blue side, and then bring those highlights up to the yellow. Yellowish red, maybe, give it a little red tint from the rocks. And before, after, before, after. All right, I think we're good with that one. I like it. I wish the photo encompassed how it felt being up there, because it doesn't even look like it's that far of a drop in the photo, but when you're up there, it's literally breathtaking. All right, so moving on, we got this next shot here, just epic. So this was on our road trip to Horseshoe Bend. To get there, you got to drive all the way through the park, and you're going through these mountains and everything's covered in snow. It was around 8 a.m. in the morning, and there was no cars. I pulled over, jumped into the side of the road, and had to get this shot. I mean, it is epic. You have that cloud coverage right there. You have the mountains in the background, the leading lights from the road, the snow on the sides. I mean, it's just sick. So this one is definitely getting printed. So we're gonna go ahead and pop that rise and shine on it. I really like how that rise and shine gives it that kind of teal look in the background. You got that sun coming in from the right. Overall, just a sick shot. So let's go ahead and straighten it up. Could not straighten. All right, I guess my hands were pretty good for that shot. And we're gonna do like we did on the others, create a nice long radial gradient. Just like that, invert it, drive that attention right down the middle, bringing everything down. All right. Something like that. Then we're gonna put a linear gradient from the bottom up. We're gonna bring that down a little bit. Nothing too crazy, just a smidge, enough to draw your eyes up, like that. Then I'm gonna put a linear gradient off the side coming down in, kind of mimicking the sun instead of doing that long radial. We'll go ahead and do a linear on this one. And then we're just gonna bring that temperature, make it a little warmer, like that sun's really pushing in off that right side. And I think that's it. There isn't much else to do. This is such a clean shot. You even look at this. Look at that. Got the bird flying high in the right. I mean, come on. This honestly might be one of my favorite shots. But I think that's it. This one was epic. I can't believe there were no cars on the road. If this shot was the same shot but had a bunch of cars on the road, trash. But the fact that it's just empty, you just feel the isolation, to me at least. You feel the isolation in the photo. Definitely one of my favorites. All right, so let's move on to the next one. And this one, got a little treat for you here. All right, now this shot here, I'm taking it back about that last shot being my favorite. This might be this is top tier, top favorite photos ever taken. First of all, I don't think I've ever even seen a bald eagle in real life. And the fact that I was able to capture it in such a stunning location, I mean, God. Right place, right time, just epic. So first, you see this nice little black spot on the shot here. I didn't realize until later in the day that I had a piece of like lint or something on my sensor in the camera from changing it out in the rain and everything else. So every shot I took that day has this damn black spot on that top right corner. It's a shame, it's a pure shame. But we're gonna take this shot here. We got that 60 megapixel A7R5, so we're gonna go ahead and pull that crop in all the way. We're gonna leave the eagle on that left third, just like that, so he's kind of overlooking just that vast landscape. I mean, but just come on, how sick is this shot? This is insane. I still can't believe I got this. So let's go ahead and find maybe a, yep, rise and shine. Look at how clean that rise and shine is. Before, after, so sick. So we're gonna go ahead and add a couple of masks here. Gonna put one right over the bird, right over the bald eagle. And we're gonna invert it and bring everything else down just a little bit, almost just highlighting the bald eagle in all its glory. Just like that, nothing crazy. Then we're gonna pull in one of those fake suns because I feel like it needs a little bit of warmth. It's gonna contrast real nice with that blue. So we're gonna make a nice big radial sun coming in off the left corner there. We're just gonna bring that temp up a little bit, adding in like some sun rays. I mean, come on, so sick. All right, let's go ahead and look at that. Would you look at that? Would you just look at it? I mean, how sick is that? You can't tell, but he is covered in blood. So we're driving up the mountain and this bald eagle is on the side of the road devouring some roadkill, just covered in blood, going to town. I pulled off. I tried to run up and get him as he was just going to town on this thing, but he seen me, he flew off, landed in this tree, and was just kind of waiting until we dissipated. But just sick. All right, so I like it so far. Let's go ahead and bring up the clarity and texture a little bit. Let's see bring up the dehaze just a little bit. I like that. Then I'm gonna put a linear gradient, but I'm gonna make it real faint, just kind of rolling across. Since we made that fake sun coming in off the left, I'm gonna just slightly tint it coming off the right to really give the appearance that that sun is coming in from that left side. So just like that, up the contrast, down the highlights, down the shadows, down the whites, down the blacks, just like that. Even bring that in like that. All right, before, after, just pure epicness. Now I do think that top is just a little blue, so we'll come down here to the color pointer. We'll go ahead and select that blue and maybe just bring it. It's almost a little too much, so we'll just bring it down just a little bit, something like that. Nothing crazy, pretty subtle. Before, after, I'm in love. Super sick. All right, I think that's it for the bald eagle. Don't need to do too, oh, you see, there it is. You see the blood there on his beak? Come on, come on. All right, moving on. We're gonna go ahead and dive into some of the portraits. We did a little model shoot. This is V. So basically, I thought it'd be pretty cool to go explore the deserts and the dry lake bed and have her dressed up real nice. Just kind of two different worlds colliding, right? You have super nice, fancy dress, then you have just empty desertness, mountainous background. Thought it would make for a pretty cool photo shoot. So this is one of the shots I really liked. It's just kind of desolate, and then you have her just right there on that right third in her nice dress or heels. Just a sick shot. So we're gonna slap that Rise and Shine on there. It does overdo it a little bit, so we'll go ahead and fix that up. We're gonna bring those shadows down a little bit, bring the contrast up a little, highlights up a little, blacks up a little. We're gonna smash the texture, smash the clarity, put a little dehaze, minus that, and we're gonna hit it with a radial gradient right over her. Nice and big like that. Go ahead and invert it. And just bring everything down just a tad so that she's the main focus here. Nothing too crazy, because it is broad daylight. You don't wanna make it look artificial. All right, now I just wanna put a radial gradient kind of over her face to really bring her face features out. Something small like that. Bring up the shadows just a little bit, the whites, the highlights, something light like that. Then we're gonna put a linear gradient from the bottom up, like that, just bringing that dirt down a little bit so it's not so punchy. Bring it down, maybe up the contrast, down the shadows. All right, like that. Then another linear gradient coming in from the bottom. And I just wanna really warm it up from that sand, give you, basically create some good contrast between the sand and the blue sky, since it's, you know, blue and orange, yellow are very well contrasted colors. Then we're gonna hit another linear, bring it down from the sky, and go ahead and blue that thing out, creating that just harsh contrast cut right between them. Sick. All right, let's see here. Before, after. All right. Before, after. All right, I think it's sick. Let's straighten it up. I'm liking it. I actually want to go back to this gradient here and just drop the rest of it down just a little bit. That way it's not just so bright across the whole image. Something light like that. All right, sick. I love the way that contrast is between the dirt and the sky. Just that harsh orange to harsh blue. Love it. All right, so that's the first portrait shot we got, desert photo shoot. Now this one is one of my favorites. We were dry, so we just left the dry lake bed and we were heading up to this little ghost town. It was about 20-30 minutes from the dry lake bed, and just the road, kind of similar to the Zion road, but you have those mountains in the back. It's really more desert-esque rather than snowy kind of mountain-esque like the Zion one. But with her in the dress, you got her red bottom shoes going, you got the mountains in the background. Just sick. That leading line right down the middle. I mean, it's just like, you know, it just makes you think, like, why is she in a nice ass dress and heels in the middle of the desert? You know what I mean? It's just, it's two contrasting things, and it just makes your mind wander. I love this shot. So let's see what we could do with it. Gonna slap on that Rise and Shine and see what we could work with here. So first, gonna create that radial gradient around her, really make her the focus of the photo, just like that. Invert, bring everything down, you know the vibes there, bring up the contrast, down the highlights, down the shadows, down the whites, down the blacks. All right, and we're gonna put a linear gradient coming up from the road here, right up to her, having it just fade off up to her, and we're gonna drop the exposure a little bit, drop the highlights, drop the shadows, the whites, something like that. All right, let me see your face. All right, now I kind of want to darken out this right side because that sun looks like it could be coming in from that left side. So we're just gonna darken out this left side just a little more, giving it the effect that that sun's really coming in off the left. Like that, real subtle. Then we're gonna go ahead and hit it with the fake sun radial gradient cheese, you already know, like that. Pull it off the top left down. We're just gonna warm it up just a smidgen. Just a nice little smidgen of warmth coming in, just like that. Oh, so sick. Same, God, I love this shot. So you have before, after. Let's go ahead and drop the texture a little bit, drop the clarity a little bit, drop the dehaze a little bit, not too much. And I think her skin is being affected from the warmth of that sun, kind of warmed up her skin a little too much. So we'll select the color pointer, pick her skin, and just drop it off a little bit so it's not so orangey. Just like that, real subtle. Before, after. All right, I think I just want to go back to that linear gradient from the bottom. I want to pull it up a little more and then really just kind of drop those shadows a little, making it a little darker going up to her. Like that. Come on. Tell me how sick that is. We don't have roads and views like this here in Houston, so literally on this trip, it seemed like every corner we turned, every highway we drove down, we were just kind of in awe, jumping out of the Jeep, trying to take pictures, and it's just sick. If you guys have never been to Zion or Horseshoe Bend, or if you've never even explored the areas around Vegas, I highly recommend doing so because there's some epic landscape. Just if you're in Vegas, a 30-minute drive and you have epic landscape. So definitely check those spots out. This was actually my first time ever in my life to go to Vegas and not gamble. I'm usually stuck on the blackjack table playing poker. And this time we were so busy, we were just out exploring so much. By the time we got back to the hotel, the resort, I was tired. I didn't even feel like gambling, which was pretty cool because I personally have never explored around Vegas like that. And it was kind of eye-opening, you know. Vegas isn't just there for the party and the gambling. There's actually some epic things to do outside of the city. So that's it. That's all I got for you guys today. Hopefully you enjoyed the shots. And like I said, you never checked out any of these places, highly recommend them. But if you got any thoughts, comments, questions, queries, concerns, go ahead and drop them below. And I'll catch you guys on the next one. Later.